Welcome back to BST, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me on yet another episode. The Indiana Hoosiers are national football champions. A crazy thing to say. A thing that a few years ago, if you would have said that, nobody would have believed you. Three straight championships for the Big Ten. Um, a lot to unpack here. We'll talk about that. And kind of the future of college football in that sense. And then we'll talk about some of the NFL coaching hires that have taken place today, and who's left. Because I mean these things are going to start getting filled out pretty soon here. So without further ado, let's hop right into this thing. Indiana beats Miami 27-21. Let's start with the game. I mean, it was a phenomenal football game. Both teams played really well. Um, Defensive battle. And, we knew with Miami that D line is so dominant, with Bain and I'm blanking. Let me see if I can find the other guy's name on defense. It's Bain and like Mesidor. I mean, those two are just monsters on that D line. Two first round picks for sure. And their two tackles on offense are both first round picks. Maui Goa and their other tackle. I'm blanking on the name as well. But I mean, so we knew going into the game Miami probably had the advantage on the D line and the O line, but I mean that's not taken away from Indiana. They have phenomenal pieces at both of those positions as well. But I think a lot of people thought this would be more of a blowout. I mean, I placed a bet for a blowout victory for Indiana. Because I mean that's what they've done. I mean, they blew out Alabama, they blew out Oregon. And I think it just shows that like those teams may be stacked in other places, but when you can be stacked on the O line and the D line, especially in college football, and win in those battles, like you're going to get pretty far. And this whole run, Miami has just had pretty competent football play, quarterback play by Carson Beck. And I thought in this game he was all right. Finishes 19 for 32, 232 yards, one touchdown, and the back-breaking pick at the end, on what was, the goal was to get the game-winning drive there. And they come up short, and Indiana wins it all. And, this wasn't their greatest game. The offense, like, I think going into this game, Mendoza had 8 touchdowns, 5 incompletions. That was not the story of today. It wasn't. Mendoza finishes 16 for 27, 186 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. He did have the rushing touchdown though, which was just such a great play. I mean, what an effort by Mendoza there to dive. I mean, he first of all, he breaks a few tackles. It's a good play call. Breaks a few tackles, dives into the end zone, and you saw him after the game. I mean, he's like bruised up, bloody. I mean, it's crazy. What a competitor! What a fiery guy. Um, I mean, that was the difference. And then, I mean, they went on fourth down a few times and got those big conversions. That was big time. Um, and then that blocked punt that is returned for a touchdown. I mean, this game is completely different if they do not get that one there. I mean, that was a complete because I mean that's Miami punting back to Indiana, and I mean Indiana really hadn't done anything all day offensively. Um, to get a free 7 points right there is huge. And I mean, Miami was backed up, but I mean, that is just a huge play. And it probably cost the Hurricanes their season, in all honesty. It was a tale of two halves as well. Indiana pretty much dominated the first half, went into halftime up 10-0. And in the second half, Miami pretty much dominated again. And on that last drive, for Beck, you just can't be throwing that ball. It's kind of late. It's very underthrown. Like that's just a bad throw when you don't need it all right there. They had time. They had timeouts, or I think they were out of timeouts, but they had time. So I mean, you don't need that play there. But at the end of the day, the Hoosiers won. I believe the better team won. The more deserving team won, even though it was a phenomenal run by Miami and Cristobal. You can't argue that. I mean, they were not supposed to be here. I mean, plenty of people had them losing to A&M in the first round. They beat A&M, they beat Ohio State, they beat Ole Miss, and they come within 6 points of beating the now 16-0 Indiana Hoosiers, first 16-0 team in the history of college football. Um, and just what a story. I mean, both teams, if both either team would have won, I mean, it's a phenomenal story for Miami. You're a team who nobody really gave you any respect coming in. Everybody's like, well, I mean, did they really deserve to make it in? And they proved everybody wrong and showed, yeah, they deserve to be in it. So there's that side of things. And then for Indiana, I mean, this was the losingest program in college football, the most losses ever, I believe. And in just 2 years, Curt Cignetti has flipped this program from the losingest ever, getting 11 wins in his first season as a coach, and getting 16 wins, going undefeated, and winning the national championship in his second year. I mean, that is just an insane, insane story. To cap it off with this one, it's one of the greatest sports stories of all time. The greatest turnaround in sports history, for sure. No, hands down. And it shows you, like Kirk Cignetti said in his press conference, when you get the right group of people going towards the same goal, you can do a lot. You can do anything. And that cannot be more true. And Kirk Cignetti is hands down the best coach in the nation. You look at a team that did not have one 5-star recruit. You look at a team like how many players were like, yeah, I wanted to go to Miami. They didn't offer me a scholarship. I think there were 5 coaches or players that went to the local high school in Miami, playing or coaching in this game. Like, that is insane. Those are all really cool stories. These are all players who were cast out, weren't looked as one of the best in their class coming out of high school. And Indiana, I mean, plenty of them are transfers as well, but like the team that Indiana assembled this year was just really special. Really, really special. And they got it done. And I mean, I don't think you could ever have a more likable quarterback than Mendoza. I mean, you saw his interview on the podium after the game. He finally drops the F-bomb. It's been all season of saying frickin', flippin', being a media darling, PR dream. And I thought it was so awesome. And me and my boys were hyped when he drops the F-bomb on the podium, on live TV, and they don't bleep it. It was just awesome. It was amazing. Man of the people for sure. And just such a likable guy, just such a good guy. Puts his body on the line for his teammates. Competitor, can make any throw really. I mean, he's just such a phenomenal player, and pretty much locked himself up for first overall. If you're asking me, to Las Vegas, and I mean, you look, the entire Las Vegas front office, including Tom Brady, was on the sideline for the game. I mean, this was I think they definitely have their eyes set on this guy to lead their franchise. And could there be a better player to go to Las Vegas than Fernando Mendoza? Like, that guy ain't gonna touch the casinos. But yeah, what a win. Cignetti, I love that guy. Such a phenomenal football coach. Is funny with the media. I mean, kind of a quirky guy. I mean, you've seen all the stares that he has at the camera. Like, just such a good. It's just such a fun team to cheer for. And I couldn't think of a more deserving quarterback, a more deserving coach, for all this success. And it ain't gonna stop here. I mean, this team is going to be good next year. They have Mark Cuban pumping in the money. The NIL budget is going to be a lot bigger than it has been. And I mean, I think they already have the most transfers out of anybody. And, you continue success like this, teams are going to want, or players are going to want to play for Cignetti and this coaching staff. So it ain't gonna stop, man. Like they're gonna be a legitimate threat for a long time. I'm not gonna say they're gonna win the next 5 national championships, but because things ebb and flow in college like crazy. I mean, like already this year, they're losing um Mendoza. I'm pretty much sure. I think they're also losing a lot of their wide receivers. I mean, to win in college football anymore, you have to be kind of an old team. So that's where like you kind of grow your team, you get to where you're pretty old, you get some returning players from a previous year, and then you kind of win it, and then you kind of drop back down, build back up and win it. I think that's what's gonna happen here with Indiana. And I mean, obviously getting a bunch of transfers helps, but like you look at the data, teams that win the national championship have a lot of third and fourth year players, fifth year players. Um, Experience matters in this sport because if you're facing a team with a lot of inexperienced players, like experience wins. And older players are stronger, they're smarter. Like having older players in college football is definitely helpful. Um, and having players that are ready to go to the NFL is extremely helpful, obviously. Um, and both Miami and Indiana had those players. So I mean, it's just such a phenomenal story, and it was a phenomenal game. And it's been a while since we've had a really, really good college football playoff national championship, like a good one. I mean, the last good one, I don't even know because I mean, I mean, you had the two Georgia ones, and then you have Michigan, then you have Ohio State, then you have um this one. So I mean, and I mean Ohio State, Notre Dame was all right. But this one's definitely the best one of the 2020s in my opinion. Cuz I mean 2020 was like Mac Jones, the Alabama team, they kind of whooped whoever they played. So I mean, it was just good to get a national championship that didn't I mean, obviously Indiana was the favorite, but like it wasn't the same team we've seen over and over again. And that's just the crazy part. I mean, they went 16-0 and like it almost feels like an underdog story. Uh and I think that's where we have to just kind of be like, "Nah, this ain't an underdog story anymore, man. This team is really that good." Um so yeah, what a game. What a story at the end of the day. Just such an insane, phenomenal, awesome story. The 2025, 2026 Indiana Hoosiers are national champions. All right, let's move on to the NFL. As a Packers fan, not only did I have to deal with a Bears loss or a Packers loss to the Bears last week, Jeff Hafley, our defensive coordinator, is now gone, and he is going to Miami. And if any Miami fans are watching this, I just want you to know you are getting a phenomenal football coach. Um, I know the numbers may not be great for the defense down the stretch. I am in no way, shape, or form in my imagination ever going to blame it on Jeff Hafley. I mean, you lose your starting defensive tackle, you lose your starting edge rusher, who, by the way, is probably the second best in the league. Um, Things got tough. They weren't winning on the line of scrimmage like they were early on, and when you're not doing that, it's hard to win, like I mentioned with Miami. Um, so the defense kind of fell off a cliff, and that's brutal. I mean, you allowed 25 points in the fourth quarter of the Bears. That's brutal, but I'm not going to blame Hafley as much for it at all. Actually, I mean, he's a great football coach, and when he had his team and his defense healthy, we were top 10 in the league. So I think he's going to definitely bring his defense to Miami, and I think they're going to be pretty successful. But not just that, I think this guy is just such a good head coach. I mean, you forget before he got hired in Green Bay to be the defensive coordinator, he was the head coach at Boston College, and he stepped down from that position to come to Green Bay. That is an underrated part of this. I mean, this guy is head coach material. Didn't have much success in Boston College, but I mean, it's also Boston College. You're not dealing with the highest level of players, but I mean, that is just super, super, super valuable to have experience like that, to call a defense like he did. And I think bottom line is he's going to bring a very, very tough culture. And that's something that you could argue has been missing with Mike McDaniel and something you've been chasing since letting Brian Flores go. And I think it's going to be a similar impact to Brian Flores. Only I think Hafley is just a better people person than Flores was at that time, a better communicator. And I think if they, who knows what the quarterback situation's going to be, but I think you're going to see a team next year in Miami that's going to be physical. They're going to fight. They're going to be competitive. And they got a lot of roster choices to make, like what happens with Tyreek Hill, who do they draft, stuff like that. But I just think in terms of the culture and what Jeff Hafley is going to bring, it's going to be a competitive, gritty culture, and I think this is a coach that's going to be your head coach for a very long time in Miami. And it's a sad, sad thing to lose him. And now, if you're Green Bay, you gotta, go on the search. I know they are interviewing Christian Parker, who is the Eagles pass game coordinator on defense, I believe. I would love to hire him. I know Raheem Morris is buddy with Matt LaFleur. So we'll see how that one goes. The other head coaching hire, Robert Saleh. Was it to the Cardinals? Now I'm blanking on who it was. I think it was to the Cardinals. Let me check just to make sure. Let's see here. No, Titans. Yeah, sorry. Titans are hiring Robert Saleh. And I've said this for years. Robert Saleh was not the problem in New York. Too many times coaches, like we'll get to with Sean McDermott here in a second, too many times coaches are just viewed as like the easy change button. Like, oh, if we fire the coach, things will change. I don't think that's true. I mean, you fired Robert Saleh, and this year it was one of the worst years in Jets history. And obviously, you don't have the quarterback play, so that's tough. But to me, like, it was never on Saleh. I thought he was the best part of those Jets teams. And when he had his personnel healthy and there, like, they had a really damn good defense. And you saw what he did in this year with the San Francisco 49ers and their injuries on defense. He called a damn good defense and had those kind of practice squad, third string players at certain positions playing like near Pro Bowl level. Like they were playing phenomenal defense. So I love this hire for the Titans. Like Hafley, it's a guy with head coaching experience. He's going to bring a culture. He's going to call a good defense. I do think it's interesting they don't go with an offensive coach, but if you look at the market, it's like it's not all there. The best one available might be Clint Kubiak, and he's still in a playoff run with Seattle that they have no um, idea of stopping this coming Sunday. So I love the hire, and you need to get a good offensive coordinator for Cam Ward. But I think that's a search that they will, especially with Saleh's connections with the Shanahan tree and Kyle Shanahan. I think he will have no problem filling that position with a good scheme. But ultimately I just love the hire, and I think Saul is going to bring a really good thing to Tennessee, similar to what Vrabel brought before you fired him, which was no doubt just a horrific decision on their part. But yeah, I love the hire of Robert Saleh at Tennessee. And then just to round off the show, let's talk about Sean McDermott. And like I was saying earlier, sometimes teams just fire coaches to try and change some things up. It's a lot easier than getting rid of players. But at the end of the day, I don't think this is the right decision here. I really don't. And I get it. You want to fire him because you haven't made the Super Bowl with a team many years that probably should have. I'm not sure this year that they were worthy of doing that, but in years past, they should have. Even I thought they probably overachieved this year, but ultimately, you haven't made the Super Bowl in 9 years with Sean McDermott, and you've been so close, and you just haven't gotten over that hump. And that's on the back of your quarterback being one of the best playoff performers of all time. I know he had 5 turnovers or whatever it was in this latest game against Denver, but in years past, like Josh Allen has not been a turnover machine in the playoffs, has thrown a lot of touchdowns and been very clutch. So I'm not going to blame it on Allen, obviously. So, I mean, does that fall on McDermott? Probably. But you also look at the current landscape of coaches now that Saleh's gone, now that Hafley's gone. Um, who ends up in Buffalo at this point? And I know there's rumors they might hire from within with Joe Brady, um, or maybe hire Brian Daboll, who was the OC in Buffalo beforehand, before going to the Giants. Maybe. I don't know. I don't necessarily love either of those hires, and I think keeping Sean McDermott around was probably just a better move than doing any of that. Um, but ultimately, if you're making this decision, it had to be one that Josh Allen was okay with. And I know a lot of Bills players, like I saw Gabe Davis come out and say, um, end of an era, kind of seeming a little bit sad that was it. So hopefully this wasn't a blindside on Josh Allen's behalf, because that's just a really, really bad situation if you're blindsiding your quarterback. At the end of the day, Josh Allen is the Bills organization. Um, since the 90s, they have not had great success without a quarterback named Josh Allen. Um, and in these past 9 years, I mean, they have been phenomenal under Sean McDermott. And sometimes I think you take winning consistently for granted. And one day I really do believe Sean McDermott and Josh Allen were going to get it done. It didn't happen this year, but ultimately, like, I think you've almost guaranteed yourself a downgrade at head coach. Um, if you compare him with an offensive guy who becomes really good, sure, but I don't know, man. It's just sometimes the grass ain't always greener, and you take for granted what Sean McDermott has built in Buffalo, and you just hope that it doesn't fail miserably. And now I think if you're a team, I mean, Sean McDermott is quite the encouraging and nice looking asset at head coach right now. And if I'm a team with an opening, like Baltimore, like Pittsburgh, I am reaching out to him immediately, to get him in there. And because I thought he always had a pretty good culture in Buffalo. So yeah, just kind of a puzzling decision. And you hope that Josh Allen was in on it and okay with it, or else this could become a pretty big disaster in no time. Um, so yeah, shorter episode today, only about 25 minutes or so. But those are just some of my thoughts on, what happened today in sports. But yeah, we got the NFL coming up this next weekend, the championship games. We'll see who's going to go to the Super Bowl, between Patriots, Broncos, Rams, and Seahawks. Should be some good games. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment. All the things help out a ton. Check out TikTok, check out Twitter, check out Instagram, for more content and reactions and stuff like that. It's all greatly appreciated. Stay safe, enjoy the games next weekend, and have a wonderful night.